Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack on Productions. We've got something a little bit different today. Jake and Bancroft are going to be dueling a match on Untap. This is because we had some technical difficulties this weekend with the camera situation, and by technical difficulties, I mean Bancroft cheated.
Of course.
But joining me, I've got, on commentary, I've got Tanner.
What's up?
And Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
Did you say me?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, Baba Booey. I missed.
You did miss it. So to keep it fair, Bancroft and Jake cannot talk to us while they're playing. We've seen an absolute butt ton of Android 21 and Gohan on the channel. I know that Jake has been ever refining his Son Gohan list. Bancroft is like running the whole gamut of building every possible Android 21 deck. For the love of God, I hope this is the last one. But before this gets going, make sure to leave your comments below, subscribe, do all that fun YouTube stuff, begging because Bancroft refuses to. It's a sign of weakness. So what do you think, guys? How you all have played against these two decks, I think.
So I'm a massive fan of Jake's Gohan deck. Like, every time I've seen him play it, it's always been the most entertaining deck at the table. What I love about it is how quickly it can flip from being a very defensive, long game deck to this really aggressive blitzy with all of these little bodies that can really catch you off guard because you don't expect a 1-drop 10k to do anything to you until you're at 3 life and you're staring down the barrel of like his big body 25k dual attackers.
Is there something that negates energy exhaust in 21? I have not played 21 a lot.
Yes. The Hell's Ultimate Weapon, if your leader card's Android 21, its energy exhaust is negated.
Okay, perfect.
So it's basically, it's one better than the check land, because if you have that turn 1, it just is instantly a multicolor charge turn 1.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I wonder if Bancroft is going to regret putting the Zeno in the energy and then having a Zeno on the field. With the way that Gohan plays, Bancroft could just lose this Zeno next turn.
He's got that Roshi in hand though.
He does have the Roshi in hand, which is really awesome because he'll be able to pick up his Super 17 Hell's Ultimate Weapon, and then he'll be able to put something else down while having another multicolor charge next turn. Like, that Roshi provides a ton of value.
Yeah, shameless plug, but I was on that card when it came out. I thought it was so good, but it never really got used to recently. Yeah,
you and Jake have talked that card up a lot.
Oh, that's interesting. I saw Jake had a I just totally blanked on his name, but that World Martial Arts promo.
The Mutato?
Yes, Mutato. Yeah. Mutato, yes.
Yeah, it's a very sneaky card.
Card is sneaky. Like, it was so meta relevant for so long, and it completely fell off once we got other counterplays that were more fitting in most decks. That I think people kind of put it in their back of their head, and they just don't ever think about it as an option.
It's very meta relevant because depending on how low to the ground your opponent's playing, like, it almost does nothing. But if you're playing against a deck that does big bodies as quick as possible, trying to cheat it out, it's immensely valuable because you can play it almost every turn and still get some type of value out of it.
So there, Jake did the -1 on his Unison. Bancroft responded with a God Sealing Technique Trunks to send them back to hand. Pretty good. It's going to keep Jake off of the aggro, but you see the hand difference here. Like, Jake has just got to keep whittling through Bancroft's hand, and he'll be in an extremely good position.
Did he just charge the other one? Ouchtown.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got another one in hand. That's good.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Gohan can play the 1-drops out of the drop area, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's not really that good of a move to bounce us back to hand, I think, because he's even got more combo power, so now he can play even more defensively.
Oh Lord, that 18's going to do work.
Bancroft would have lost his Unison had he not done that, because he didn't have any open energy and he wouldn't have been able to defend the Unison. So it was really the only way that he was going to be able to keep his engines up from this point forward. He can at least now use the Zeno, keep the Zeno alive. If he does happen to draw into like a Trunks heroic prospect or something like that, he'll have the ability to use those.
But doesn't his field card mitigate some of the, or is that the other 21 leader?
That's the other 21.
Okay. Okay.
This is the evil 21, the starter deck version.
Oh, well, this is the good 21. The
good 21
set is the evil 21.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of this leader. I think there's a lot of silly restrictions in this leader.
I think they were playing it very safe with this leader
Extremely
when they printed it because they were trying to kind of mitigate ramp but also kind of self-contain it into this specific archetype. So I feel like them making it so you couldn't play very big bodies really hurt the deck because the entire archetype of androids at the time was about ramping up and playing the I forgot the name of the android that got banned, Android 21.
Violent Predator.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of the cards that were printed for the time kind of did not mesh well with this deck. Mm-hmm. And the cards that were printed specifically for this deck were very niche and kind of gimmicky. Like, I'm a huge fan of Android 16 New Start. If you don't know what he does, it's activate main. You place a blue-green multicolor energy in the drop area. Play him. And then that procs your leader to place an energy back into your energy in rest mode from your drop area and draw a card. So he's fantastic at your autos proccing, and he's just a nice 15k body that you can play for pretty much free.
Yeah. And Bancroft got the full value out of that there, where he has the free blocker off of that play as well.
And I think that 18 Arrival is going to put in some work here later as well. I could be wrong, but that card is very helpful, especially in a Arrival-based deck that Jake's running. I think it's a good counter, but we'll see.
No, I think you're right. I think that Android 18 Full of Rage is going to provide a lot of value to Bancroft's survivability later on in this game. The big thing I noticed in his hand right now is unless he's going to combo off the Android 16 A New Start, he doesn't have a green target to combo with her yet.
That's true. Mm-hmm. But just a quick note on restrictions. Restrictions are great because it allows us to try new things like untap commentary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I think Bandai's whole plan was.
Yeah, just to let Attack on Productions do untap commentary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to get us to funnel into this website that they get no kickback from. And
screw online clients.
Yeah.
Now look at Jake's hand here. Jake's hand is full of gas right now.
Of course.
He's got
and he still hasn't awoken yet either.
He still has not awoken. So I imagine he's going to tap Zamos here, get his 18 or his Bojack out, awaken because he's a draw. He's a draw 2. Okay, so he could go on ahead and awaken now. Yep, get his combo off.
Yeah,
but if we just look at the spread of styles of cards in his hand. He has the Apes, the Bergamo, if you want to count the Bojack Arrival as a very aggressive option, but he also has those cards could be flipped and played in a very defensive way as well.
Yeah.
So he has many options here, and if he felt safe enough, which of course, 2 energy open in blue and a blocker on field is not in kill range, but he could easily try to blitz and go for a lot of damage this turn if he wanted to.
You notice Bancroft forgot to restand his energy off of the leader's effect. So that was what he was doing there.
I think Jake is a very patient player, which is going to be interesting with all those options. I'm kind of excited to see this format to see how he thinks because I like playing him. He's always a very defensive, patient player.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's put a lot of time into this deck, just specifically. He does that with a lot of decks he really, really likes. And he knows the right times to play things, the right time not to play things, when to go, when to not go. So he's a very smart player when it comes to understanding how his deck works and what he can do and his limitations.
It's very interesting there. Bancroft could have shut Jake out there by counterplaying the incoming Bardock Father-Son Goku. But I guess he would just be able to play it again, right? There's no limitation. Yeah. So that probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, there would be no good reason to do so. And I think Jake going into the Unison is not a bad idea right now.
No, he's clearly on hand advantage here.
Because if Bancroft wants to save the Unison, he's going to have to expend resources that he does not have currently in his hand, which Jake would not know that. But it is still a good play to attack the Unison, get those negates out of the hand to protect it and keep it on board if Bancroft chose to do so, so that in a turn where he wants to switch gears and go towards the leader, Bancroft is not going to have those resources to defend himself.
Yep.
And when it comes to blue, the only floodgate that's really prevalent is the Trunks, right?
Heroic Prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and since he does spam a lot with his 1-drops, it's almost a non-issue for him. Granted, he does have bigger things that are more threatening, but he can always just flood the board with the little guys and then just have them do all the work for him, and then it's just, okay, you just negate one attack, but I can still attack 3 or 4 times.
Did Jake tap the Unison itself to get the marker there?
Yeah.
Looks like it.
I'm really surprised that Jake did not try to bait out a counterplay there with the baby, knowing that if he can work his way, because he's already seen one God-Sealing Technique Trunks, there's one in the energy. Jake can't be that afraid with how efficient Gohan is with resources. So I find it's really interesting that he let the Zeno persist.
I think the reasoning probably is he would have to tap out because he can't hit him twice. And if he's thinking that he does have the Trunks in his hand, then he's tapped out and that's it.
Is he going for the Obuni here?
Looks like it. Though he could have just tapped 4 for that Android 18 to play her, but I think that Obuni is definitely the correct choice here.
Well, I'm just thinking that one open yellow energy, he's got to be thinking Nimbus, and as we know, Jake has one in hand.
Yeah, I still think putting Obuni out, it's deflect and essentially has barrier with the tokens out. So I feel like playing that out there and knowing yellow does not have the best removal in the game. Those tokens are going to stick. They're going to stick there. Obuni is going to be safe. So this is going to be a cascading value over the rest of the game now.
Well, and Obuni being one of the few cards in Bancroft's deck that has the ability to match the value of stuff like Raiders Warcry, the Violent Rush Bojack, the Super Combo, Bergamo. Like, it's one of the few cards in Bancroft's deck that actually matches and probably surpasses in some ways in value those other cards. So this really creates a very level playing field. And like, Jake doesn't have any Sensu Beans, so he doesn't have the ability to really extend his plays. So he is having to play a slightly slower, more reactionary game.
I think that's what Jake likes to play, though, from my experience.
Absolutely. Bancroft activated his Android 17 restraint support to blow up the Bardock father-son. Fantastic ability there. That card puts in so much work in this deck.
Of course.
Because it's also a trigger for the leader's ability.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which I've always had my eye on that Android 17. I never took the time to really test with them and put them in any list because of how heavy the effect is of dropping an energy. But it's null and void when you play Android 21 because that's what 21 wants to do. I still think that Android 17 is still a fantastic card if you just need removal in blue, which blue tends to lack a lot of removal. But it's just all gas in Android 21, the self-control variant.
So now he's got a Unison attack and one more battle card attack. There's his battle card attack.
And he's still out of super combo range. So if he swings with the Zeno, he's not going to be able to combo without losing a valuable card in his hand. And he's tapped out. So he can't tap to combo with like Android full of rage. And I don't know that he wants to like get rid of his tokens or anything on a Zeno swing. So he may just pass simply after this attack goes through. No, he's going to commit.
Interesting.
I guess get the marker off, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I guess he's really scared of the 4.
Putting a Unison and a token. Interesting.
Yeah, he must be really worried about Jake's ability to get that -3 off.
Which that ability is just amazing. That Unison overall is fantastic. I haven't found a matchup where that Unison is just completely unplayable.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
The -1 alone is incredible in so many matchups, and in a matchup like Self Control 21, where Bancroft's not really cheating out any big body cards. They're not. He's playing on pace. That -1 will probably never come up. I cannot think of a single situation where it would come up in this list, other than like a rival 18. But most of the time, you're using that for the ability to bounce a card. Yeah. The -3 is gas in every matchup, and
it really gives him the ability. It can tap down an open energy, and I was on that unison extremely early.
Oh yeah, good lord!
And like that unison was just never bad.
Yeah,
no.
It was always, and everyone kept telling me to like go to Gogeta, like he'll draw through your deck faster. And I'm like, no, man, this Vegeta is too good.
I think that set overall was just sort of overlooked because everything seemed so underwhelming at the time, and we were so excited for, not us personally, but everybody was so excited for set 10 that there were some really good cards there that were overlooked that I think you were definitely on early.
Even the red set, that had like the Fairweather Fiend Frieza. That Frieza is amazing, and I don't think anyone plays it.
Agreed.
Fantastic card.
So Jake has the ability to crack back here and really pressure. He's still really concerned about this unison and wants that unison off the field.
Which I still think strategically is a great option for Jake. And I'm sure he's going to use the Zamasu Super Combo to tap down his blocker, which makes it so Bancroft has to choose to use the Dimension Magic into his hand if he wants to protect that Zeno unison.
Yep.
He tapped the Obuni?
Interesting. Yeah.
So why do you think the unison's such a problem on board right now? Just because the -5 is in, like...
It gives him access to an additional set of negates, and it gives access to God Sealing Technique Trunks.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically it turns on a certain percentage of Bancroft's deck, and even the leader gets her effect off of Zeno letting an energy fall off if he loses like the Android 17 somehow and doesn't have a way to trigger her effect. The Zeno can trigger her effect. So the Zeno is a mini
fills many holes, so to speak.
It fills a lot of little holes. And Jake is just going to pressure here to try to get that off.
Now he's got Aegis on board, so he can be defensive next turn as well if he needs to.
So I think we're going to see a God Sealing on the Bergamo, which will keep Jake from being able to play the Bergamo.
Yep, yeah. There it is.
Which keeps him from losing his blocker, keeps him from losing his open energy.
So this might be a conversation for a longer video, but do you think unison management is becoming one of the most important things, especially versus a green or a blue deck? Or do you think it can kind of vary battle to battle or deck to deck?
I really feel like it varies deck to deck.
I notice with a lot of unisons now, with a lot of unisons having a +2 ability, it becomes very difficult as an opponent to manage that specific unison, especially when they tend to be the 15k bodies. The things that spring to mind are the Baby Unison, the Vegito unison for Go Tanks. Those are very, very difficult unisons to deal with and are very powerful on the back end.
The red Piccolo unison,
yes,
with a symbol on field, is extremely difficult to get rid of.
And I find myself a lot nowadays when I'm building a deck that my unison inclusion is usually not to make or break the deck. I never build a deck around a unison. My inclusion is to either be, this is just going to give me 1 or 2 turns of value, or this is going to kind of become a lightning rod for my opponent, where my opponent is going to focus their attacks into the unison, and it basically becomes a negate that I can use for as many markers as on the card.
I think in certain matchups, unisons they're a red herring on the field. They seem incredibly important, and they'll lightning rod your opponent's resources and save swings onto your opponent's leader, like the Gogeta deck. I don't think it's ever right to go super hard into PyCon, because
you're going to recur the PyCon.
The deck recurs it so fast. So deal with the deck in other ways and pressure the leader, which makes me waste resources. And I kind of feel like in Jake's matchup, this Vegeta is a red herring for him.
I was just saying, because we just saw 2 back-to-back turns where the opponents are going after the unison, which is kind of what sparked the question. But I agree with you.
I think Jake's is a red herring. I think Bancroft's is essential to his game moving forward.
It is so easy for Jake to invest removal towards the Zeno, with Zeno being a 9K and Jake having a lot of 10K bodies that he can play for cheap or free. That, expending a couple attacks into the Unison every single turn is not going to make or break him, where in other decks where you're going to get 1 or 2 attacks period in your turn, that spending those attacks on in Unison is much less valuable, unless it's a situation where they're about to -5 on the Zeno, or they're about to -7 on Vegito.
Because right now, Bancroft can essentially advantage. Jake has to deal with, Jake has Violent Rush Bojack. Bancroft can easily clear out this Unison, get rid of that extra threat while keeping Bancroft out of the combo step. Bojack does not get to activate his ability, doesn't get to do anything. Bancroft has an ability to build up and manage resources here that he wouldn't have had before. Whereas, I wonder if Jake should have done a little bit of field control there to try to get, the Abuni out or get rid of those. The Zeno is essential to Bancroft's strategy, but I think that Jake can win by ignoring that Unison.
Because Bancroft was essentially tapped out there.
Yeah.
That's why I was curious to see.
His hand was tiny. And he didn't have the Sparking 5 to play his Dimension Magic. He didn't have the ability to use the super combo. He couldn't combo with either Android 18, and I think he had this Android 21 in hand. He just didn't have a way to play any of those out or use them. So really, Jake was in control in that turn, but put a lot into trying to clear that Unison off.
So Jake just activated Aegis, which I'd like to talk about that for just a second, on how Aegis, when it first dropped, and the only Aegis card was the 5-drop Janemba. And it's seen very solemn play in Janemba at the time, because Janemba's strategy was just already set in stone and was much better than Aegis. Aegis never added anything. And then we got the was it Destroyer King? Or no, it was Assault of Saiyans that had all the Universe 6 stuff, and we had the big body Kefla with the Aegis skill, and that was never played because the deck wanted to play a very low to the ground aggressive approach. And me and Tanner have joked about it before, that the only way you made Aegis relevant was to give it the better skill, its sister skill, Arrival.
And then lo and behold.
And Violent Rush Bojack has put in so much work lately. It's such a fantastic card.
And everyone involved in this conversation, we've had conversations before about how Aegis was at one point heralded to be the worst skill in the game.
And I tried to make it work numerous times, and it was just garbage.
It was just garbage. Violent Rush Bojack has completely turned everyone's perception of that skill around.
Yeah, because it's kind of counterintuitive with what the blue-yellow strategy does, right? So a lot of the times you don't want to go to the combo step with blue and yellow. And now that you have more of a reason to, because you get your stuff back, you get energy back for more defense, you get an extra draw for doing that. It's really put it in a spot to where you're okay doing it at least the once, to where you can keep going and blocking everything.
See,
really,
of note, got us bad omen in. Sorry, Fluff.
Of note here, Jake got the Trio to Danger Fierce Trinity out. So basically, he's going to be able to turn off Zeno for the next turn, and Bancroft won't be able to respond to this card's attack into the Unison. So he won't be able to block her, he won't be able to negate, he won't be able to do anything, and he's basically just going to turn Zeno off. So Zeno's going to go to 3, he's not going to be able to +2, he's not going to be able to -5 unless he plays out a new Zeno. So this card is fantastic as a solution card to Unisons, and related to Tanner's earlier question, what do you think is more important? If you have the ability to run Fierce Trinity, this is your solution, because it basically just shuts the Unison down and forces your opponent to either waste their turn without their Unison or waste energy replacing the Unison.
I noticed he got his bad omen out. That's what I was trying to say. It was cutting out, so I apologize. I talked over you there, but he finally used that Roshi.
Yes. He picked up his Super 17 and dropped the bad omen.
Now, this 21 has the ability to play that for free, correct? There's a combo of some sort that does that?
The Super 17 does.
Okay.
It's a heavy energy investment, but it plays 3 Android cards with energy cost of 5 or less.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So if he could see more 21s, his strategy could just go to the I'm going to play defensive for the rest of the game and try to resolve Hell's ultimate weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the way I've seen Bancroft win a majority of his games with 21 in general, not just speaking on the self-control variant of the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Hell's Weapon is just such a heavy energy investment.
But it's
And
just
from the looks of
ridiculous skill.
From the looks of it, Jake is very scared of the Trunks counterplay again, so he is going heavy into the Unison.
Yeah.
Do you think it's his... What do you think that Drake has in hand that he's so afraid of it being hit by?
Bardock's.
Yeah. I mean, just because it's a 2 energy investment, you don't want to see it go to waste.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have talked about how that's bad. That card, or not that card's bad, but how it's a little less effective now.
Nick and I were talking a lot last night about how yellow has to make advantages of tiny little cracks in the defense, and it is completely counterintuitive for your opponent for you to tap energy to play out a Bardock for it to get counterplayed for free. It basically it's a hard negative for yellow, because Jake mitigates that a little bit with Aegis. He does run Sensu Beans, but generally pure yellow as a strategy does not like to waste its energy.
And Jake is currently in a position right now where he cannot activate Aegis with the cards in his hand. If he wants to play the Bardock right now and get value out of it and be able to completely finish off that Unison at this moment, he would have to hope to get a blue-yellow draw off of the draw 1 on the 8th to be able to activate Aegis and keep himself alive.
Now he's going to play the 1-drop. Or no, I thought he was going to play the 1-drop Basil.
He is super good with this deck. What did he swing? Did he not swing at the Unison with Fierce Trifinity?
He did, but there was a block.
Yeah, he blocked with Android 16, which is the only response you pretty much have to that card in a Unison attack. So it looks like he is going for a little bit of field clearance right now, as much as he can, because the Abune cannot be KO'd. So he's probably going to put this other attack into the Unison. Yeah.
Since Jake can't utilize Aegis, is it wise for him to get a swing in with that Bojack?
I think it would be. I cannot say what I would do in this situation, because I think I would probably just pass and hope that I would get get lucky on like either a life or a some form of getting another card into my hand. But I think putting it into danger is just fine, because is Bancroft going to try to put resources into getting rid of it?
No.
Is the question.
There it is.
Oh, interesting. Did he have 7 in the drop to do that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep.
Would you look at that?
Yeah.
Yep.
And now it can't be removed from Bad Omen, so that's a good defensive tool.
Yeah. That's a really awesome. I forget he runs that secret rare. I see him put it out so infrequently when I play him.
Which I think it's a fantastic secret rare for the deck. Like Heroine's Lineage is the only other one that I would probably run over that. For the style of deck, or the style that Jake plays and his approach to most decks, that secret rare screams Jake to me when he plays it.
I really like Heroine's Lineage in this, because you let your opponent waste a bunch of energy or resources establishing a card, and then you just steal it with Heroine's Lineage. It kind of screams what this deck also wants to do. But
Heroine's Lineage is even more inherently valuable in yellow, because you can Vegeta's Final Flash and negate, ignore barrier, and then take it. So it's an amazing card in yellow.
So what procs that Bergamo again? I was surprised because it gets a draw when it's played, correct?
The Bergamo, which Bergamo? This
one drop. No, I'm sorry, I meant to say Basil.
The Basil. 5 or more cards in rest.
Oh, 5. I thought it was 4. So
which Bancroft did not have a lot tapped. I don't.
He had 4, I thought. So.
Oh, was it 4? Okay.
But if you're playing a lot of yellow strategies, it's not that hard to do.
Basil, I still think, is probably top 3 best 1-drops in the game.
Easily.
Just puts in so much work. Like, I think it's followed closely by the Green Kakunsa from Battle Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And number one is Dependable Mom Bulma.
Exactly.
That is.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think you got to put Black Mass Sand, Dark Powered Black Mass.
BMS.
Yeah,
I was gonna suggest my prized possession, the green 1-drop stamped Dragon Ball Whis Benelli. That is the best card this game has ever printed.
Shut up, Jimmy.
What about Bubbles?
Go see Jimmy's TCG account, please.
Yes.
That would be a really interesting video, though. A top 10 best 1-drops in the game, top 10 best 2-drops in the game.
That would be a good one, yeah.
That would be a really good. Human
Shield Krillin has to be up there.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you've seen in the top corner there, I'm assuming Bancroft proc Dabuni revealed the top card of the deck. It was the Black Goku from Battle Evolution, the 5-drop, which would have been fantastic for Jake opening this next turn as a clapback option.
It would have provided so much power.
Yes. And if we're looking at Bancroft's hand right now, he has the Android 18 counterplay, which is so absurdly powerful.
For anyone who doesn't know, can read it on the screen.
And he still has another Android 16 new start. That's more aggression. He has the Dimension Magics. He has the Prospect. He has a super combo, both of the 18s. He has a lot of defensive plays right here, and he's choosing to play the 18 now just to clear off some cards. Which, honestly, I don't know why he's playing that.
Yeah, I don't know.
He does not have a target.
Yeah, he doesn't have a target unless he thinks he's going to be able to get the Sen Shenron off or preparing for an ape to come in a little bit later.
Could be a possibility. He could be expecting an Aegis proc since Jake was so willing to tap out.
Yeah.
Which he does have the ability to proc Aegis now as he pulled a Fickle God Beerus.
Yeah, that looked like it came out of his life. So
it did.
Oh, the irony.
Right.
I noticed he has another Bad Omen in hand as well, so we could maybe see that, as we talked earlier, the Bancroft switch to a more defensive strategy here. He's got Heroic Prospect in hand, Dimension Magic, a super combo. I'm curious to see, especially with Jake being at the 3 life mark now.
Jake is going to have a multitude of blocks now per turn, though. So Bancroft has to try to do something about this Sen Shenron. He's got to do something about it. Otherwise, he's never going to be able to match Jake's ability to combo to defend this Shenron.
The only
Bad
real
Omen
thing...
does. Oh, go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
Well, no, the only real thing I could think he could do would be he would have to go big. Just do small swings to lower his battle power, and then when he's in a comfortable range, like 25-20, then swing with something decent, and then just combo high.
So he would need 3 right now to kill Jake, correct? Because Bad Omen does 1 damage each.
Yes.
And 17 is 7 to play?
8.
8. Good lord.
Yeah, and where Bancroft isn't running the ramp strategy in this deck, I don't know that that's, right. I mean, this deck does not want to go 8 turns. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just does not want to do it. It's not. I mean, very few decks actually want to go 8 turns. Even decks that are designed to do it, like Baby.
Reboot Beerus.
Do you think the time magic was a smart play?
That is questionable. I don't know why he's not just procking Aegis.
I think the smarter thing would have been to do to proc Aegis, so you get, because he drew another Bojack, so he could have done Aegis again. So I think the smarter play would have been to proc Aegis, and then since he had the 2 open energy, go for a Bardock to tap something else.
Yeah.
But again, we know what's going on from above. He doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
right. He
would have lost the. Bancroft can kill the Sen Shenron with Android 17, actually, because it doesn't have barrier.
But the Sen Shenron cannot be removed by skills, correct? Yeah, it cannot be removed from your battle area by your opponent's skills.
This card cannot be removed by opponent's skills, okay.
Bancroft did tap 1 energy for the Android 18 counterplay, and he procced it on the 1-drop higher dragon.
Yeah.
Was he afraid of the chain?
I think he's tilted. I don't think he's thinking clearly about, and not talking crap, but I think he's just trying to establish another blocker on the field now.
If we continue to do this and we do get into trash talking, I'm making a tilted, burr, 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 burr sound. Tilted. Yeah, he's tilted. But I mean, he could have been afraid of the chain. I mean, that higher, what the 8-drop Higher Dragon is really good.
It
Or
does have
6-drop.
unique, so he can't play another one.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I know nothing.
I believe Bancroft has to expect a Bardock Ape because he has not seen a single one this entire match.
Yeah.
Feel like he has to expect something like that. So playing that on a 1-drop that he gets for free is kind of an interesting play.
Yeah, it felt weird because like he's just not going to get the blocker value out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as Jake takes a swing, unless Bancroft immediately blocks with this, he's going to be able to tap 2 energy for the Bojack and then Bergamo and tap an additional 2 cards. So Jake is going to get 3 taps with his next attack that successfully goes through.
Here's the
At least.
Basil attack.
Could even get 4 taps through. I mean, depending on how it pans out, how it shakes.
Assuming heroic. There it is.
Is he finally at 5? He's finally at 6 in the drop, so he can activate his Dimension Magic.
Which he would not need to spark it out due to the 2 standing energies.
So the only thing...
But it's still, if Jake decides to go down the path of playing Bergamo, he will have to resort to sparking.
Heroic only stops the ultimate, right? The SCR on board right now, correct?
It would stop Bojack, and it would stop the SCR.
But from the looks of it and the way Jake plays the Bojack, he will most likely not swing with
not
that.
swing with that.
Especially now that he's got the restriction with it.
He won't swing with it until he feels like he's going to be able to go for game with either of those 2 swings, because tapping the Sen Shenron eliminates a large portion of his defense, and tapping Bojack creates a bullseye.
So he's blocking it
now. Well, now that Jake has the combo phase, most likely he's going to go for game this time. So I think he'll combo both Bardocks,
And
or maybe he'll combo the Bardock and then play it and then the Bergamo. Those would be his 2 options.
he's also got Path to Power. So if we see him get a Sensu Bean here, he's going to go crazy this turn.
Yeah, and since he saw the no response, his eyes are probably wide now. He's like, oh, no response? Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, so Jake has a lot of pathing that he can take. And it looks like he chose not to play the Bergamo unless that's what he is doing.
I think
now.
that's what he just did.
Here we go. Yep.
So until he can get a Sensu Bean, it locks him out of being able to also play the Goku. I do not remember the name of it. I'm sorry.
Battle Evolution one.
The Battle Evolution Goku, which I think could have been the better option because it's tap 2. It's a double strike that's going to put another body on field as well on swing.
Yeah.
But he could still easily set Bancroft up to the point where he cannot win the next turn with the Bergamo and Bardock play.
Bancroft's in a tight situation here. And if I'm Jake, is tapping the 2 energy the right play there?
You think put another ape on field?
No. I think Bergamo is right, but eliminating Bancroft's ability to combo.
I think it would be okay in this scenario because from the looks of it, now that he's comboing away his pieces, I think it'd be time to go for some board clear, especially at this point now.
So Bancroft bottom deck predation.
Yes.
Yeah. So he did have to resort to sparking out the Dimension Magic, which what did Jake swing with there? I apologize.
Second attack, Higher Dragon.
On the 6-drop. It still looks like Bancroft's in a good enough situation that he can survive this turn, and it would be very difficult for Jake to push through both a single strike and then get that double strike and be able to combo heavy enough that Bancroft cannot get out of it due to Bancroft having 2 open energy, the Sensu Bean, and then a myriad of 10k combos in the same. But that's still okay for Jake because he has that wall of defense that is Sen Shenron plus a being able to proc Aegis. And while he does not have any negates in hand, he does have the Mataito counterplay and then a Bardock that can mitigate another attack by tapping it down.
And he's also got 2 unisons in hand, so he's gonna be able to play a unison for 1, and then swing with the unison, maybe combo off the Mutaito, and then play out 2 skillless and push additionally with those while still having the ability to activate Aegis. And he could go ahead and swing with the Bardock, super pressure with what he's got on the field, and then still have the Sen Shenron to provide, interception over the next turn.
So it looks like he chooses to go into the Unison with Bardock, which would, putting it down to 1 marker, removes the threat of God Sealing. We know that Bancroft does not have a God Sealing, but we did see him tap the energy and then second guess himself and untap. So it looks like he is going down the path of Saiyan Scions to get that attack through and then push with the 2 1-drops he's going to get off of the minus.
Yep. And if I'm Jake right now, I think I'm thinking about board clearing. I think Tanner mentioned that earlier. Going ahead and getting the board clear out of the way, getting rid of the Unison, maybe trying to establish and get rid of this after image token. Maybe just passing with the 2 vanillas as combo fodder.
Of course, yeah.
And I think it would be smart for him to swing with that Bojack, because he's got enough for Aegis in hand. Oh, well, he could. He would just have to bottom deck one of his Bojacks in hand.
Yeah.
Oh, so, heroic is bottom deck, right?
Yeah.
Heroic.
So so he's got. I would feel comfortable swinging with it because he, like I said, he still has enough for Aegis on his defense turn, and he could still get a pretty big swing off on something to clear.
I guess it's a good point. I never thought about actually just pushing through, like similar with Topo.
It would have been.
It just depends, right?
Really so for him to go through and do that. I mean, it would have because really what he's got to worry about now is Bancroft having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 possible swings this turn, and
he's got a Android 21 and the energy, right?
Yeah.
So technically, all
make a choice here. He can either go with a Booney and go for a very wide aggro board and try to just whittle down that Sin Shinron so he can get those 2 attacks that he needs to finish the game, or he can just go with what he has on his board and then try to clutch the game with Violent Predator or Bad Omen. I apologize.
Does she play this card from the energy?
Yeah.
So as long as
at this point,
just get Jake to take 1 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and with the stuff he has now, it's going to be tough. So if Jake blocks, honestly, what Bancroft could do is just swing with Obuni. Jake would block. He would go really tall, like combo everything, then play Obuni again. Well, maybe not play Obuni again, but no, he could. He has enough energy to play Obuni, then Bean, and then Violent
First
Predator.
block. There's
or
the
Bad
Aegis. Drops a Bojack for Aegis.
We're standing a blue and a yellow.
He stands Sin. I guess Bancroft didn't want a combo through that because he's what, 40,000 base?
35.
35.
Now he's 30.
Do you think it wouldn't be a bad idea for Jake to combo the Bojack now and then arrive the second one to Aegis again?
Yeah, maybe.
That would be a very smart play.
Because he could combo the Bojack that's on field for 1 energy, arrive the second one, and then once he's done that, then he has the Beerus to Aegis again.
Yeah, that would give him a lot of defense, especially if Bancroft decides to go in heavy on the Shenron right here.
See, guys, I know some stuff sometimes.
So it looks like Jake did not block with Sin. He took the no response on the leader attack, and he is just going to combo with the cards that he has available to him currently.
And there's the third, or his final Bojack.
Yeah.
So now it would definitely behoove him to do that because he's got a lot.
Sees that line of play. It's kind of a weird play,
I don't know,
but it's an extremely effective one. Like I wouldn't have seen it if I'm in Jake's position. I don't know that I see that.
Quick, somebody message him now. We need to get our boy on the phone.
Metagame.
So Bancroft's going to go on ahead and make him take damage now.
And then probably swing with the 21. So he could Bean and Zeno and possibly do it again, couldn't he?
No, he won't have enough energy to do that. Because if he Beans, he'll go to 3, and then he'll have 2 for Zeno, which will leave him at 1, and Zeno will
then go to 2. That's right, yeah.
He would need another Bean.
Another Bean to do it. He's seen what, 2 already?
Yeah, I think there's 1 in his drop area. Nope.
1.
Oh. So he's only seen 1. Wow, that sucks. Jake is
at this point. But at this point, Bancroft does have enough on field, and knowing Jake's hand, he does have little to
And
defend.
if Bancroft has the free Android 16, he can tap 2 for this Android 17, pop another card, so he could pop the Basil or the Bardock to keep them from being problematic. He could even pop the Higher Dragon. He could pop 2 of those. So Bancroft will lose a lot of energy tempo doing that, but Bancroft can really control where this field goes.
So there's the second one. So now he's down to 25.
Yeah.
Does that go into effect after the battle?
Auto, when this card activates blocker, switch it to active mode and it loses 5,000.
Okay.
So as soon as during this battle phase, it should restand and then be 25 for Bancroft's combo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it doesn't stay at 30 until the end of the battle. It loses 5 as it activates blocker.
Yes.
So Bancroft could push a little bit here if he wanted. No? Okay.
He absolutely could, yeah.
Yeah, and at this point, all it takes is once that sin is gone, it's pretty much over.
Now it'll be 20.
So this was his
Yeah, Android 18. So it's an even.
Yeah. So now it'll be -3. So now it's 20 on 20. He did not. So now it's going to be 15 on the next swing, which Jake will probably be able to combo a Bardock
And tap the other.
and tap the other open battle card.
If only Jake had the brain as big as mine.
He could go into it.
He could.
Yeah, he could be.
Do it. I mean, it
Yeah.
definitely.
Looks like he's going
But-
to Bardock.
But he didn't.
Yeah.
And at this point, now that he's tapped out, it's he
So
can
that put him at
press
25.
Yeah.
But he still has a sit. So he's tapping that. The
that, and he
battle's
still has a
still
leading
on.
swing.
And he must feel like he has another block swing here. So Bancroft will swing. He'll activate blocker, which will put this Shenron down to 10,000. He'll block with it. Bancroft will be able to walk over it. Jake will think he's safe. Bancroft can play the Android 16, swing with that. Sensu being on that swing, combo a card, and then followed up with another Android 17 supported or restrained.
Yeah.
Whereas I think had Jake used the play that Nick pointed out of comboing with the Violent Rush, playing out another Violent Rush, and then activating Aegis in that battle to restand more, it would have extended Jake's ability to combo and defend.
And I feel
He
like
would have
this is.
replaced, and he would have gotten another card, which could have been the Nimbus that he needed to stop everything.
And I feel like this is the biggest issue with multicolors, as we see, is that even though he has 5 in hand, none of them are of use to him.
Yep.
It just that clog, that 10K clog is so rough.
Absolutely, it's kind of the risk you run when you're building decks, right? So like you have to balance what you can do with how much big stuff you want to play. I find that troubling in a lot of decks that I play, especially with multicolor in particular, because a lot of multicolors do cost that 1 to
So
combo
Fluff-
with. So
So
it's
Fluff
rough.
called it, giving him the bean. I feel like I ran into that a lot with Surge Broly, even though that was a little bit more flexible. But I know you and I can bond on that.
I also think Jake did his math wrong on that Shenron, because he only comboed 1 out of his hand to save it against the leader attack. And by my count, that Shenron would have been 10,000,
Correct.
and he would have still lost it, even comboing the 1.
Oh, there's a
Doesn't
super
matter.
combo.
Yeah, Bancroft's going to get the swing with the Android 17 restraint support. Jake doesn't have any way to combo.
And he's got a super combo in hand. Yeah, he can go hard here. Yep.
Yep.
This is just a formality at this point. You go ahead and tap the energy and really put the pressure on.
Yeah, and it's so amazing seeing that, like, you know, we of course had the thought, the foresight of seeing Bancroft's hand,
Hmm.
but you know, if Jake had done that, where he comboed with the Bojack, arrivaled the other Bojack, then
Could have
activated Aegis to up more, it would have given him basically an additional tap, an additional draw, 2 additional 10K combos. It would have probably been enough to resource Bancroft out for this turn.
Extend that turn a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But now we got advice to give to Jake to make him better. This is
Yeah,
what we do.
this was actually really interesting. We'd never really done this.
Tell me how I'm bad.
we will go over that after we do everything. But was it as fun for you guys as it was for us?
That's the most awkward question to ask after something's over.
So I have no idea.
We're still recording.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I was watching the time as we were going. I knew going into this would be longer than our normal games because the thing about Discord is that obviously I had I think on turn 3, 2 big misplays I did where I could have continued my plays, and I completely forgot because the cards aren't in front of me. I'm looking at a screen, and that interaction causes the game to go longer because I'm thinking, okay, what button's this again? What button's that again? I don't know all the shortcuts, so I can't just like fly through it like I can just like in a normal game.
So
outside
what you're saying is you're a 50-year-old man.
Exactly, apparently I am. But outside that, I'm thinking this is a good approach. Now, granted, these videos will be longer, so if you all stuck through it till this point and you like it, let us know.
There was a lot of really good talk about like possible plays that you guys could have been. And like sometimes you guys surprised us. Sometimes you did exactly what we thought you were going to do. And it was just a really interesting talking point and lots of learning points, seeing like in the hands and having the bird's eye view down. Like in that last round, Jake had a play that if he had made it, I think you lost Bancroft.
But tell us in the comments what you guys think.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I guess, do we have time for last words? Everyone, last words? Tanner, last words.
Last words is always enjoy being on here with you guys, and that's about it.
Wow, that's a fucking lie.
Nick, last words.
No last words. I'll donate it to charity.
All right, Bancroft, last words.
This video's kind of long. Let's hurry up.
Yeah, shut up. Don't censor me. Jake, last words.
If you want to win, you have to practice saying goodbye, everyone. He's fluff.
Yeah. Jimmy, last words.
It
doesn't matter if you have last words.
Keep EDP away from this duel. There's 2 children going at it. We don't need him here.
Okay, you just kept talking. I tried to cut you off. But anyway, read your cards, know your plays. Let us make mistakes so you don't have to. Bluff out.